Hey guys, and welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect with CJ. Today we're gonna be talking about um something that's personal, that I've been kind of working on this year. Um, and it's about what it's like to be overwhelmed and feel like you're running on empty a little bit. And it's not just tired; it's the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. It's the kind um, where your body is moving, um, but your heart and mind still kind of feel like exhausted. Um, you just kind of feel like you're just going through the motions, you know? And people tend to think, or most people, I feel like, tend to think that being overwhelmed kind of looks like um, falling apart. Maybe like you're unraveling at the seams, like maybe you have a crash out or something like that. Um, and coming from a person who has high functioning anxiety, I could tell you that that's not the case. Um, and what I mean is like I'm always like 1,000 steps ahead about like everything. I think about everything. I think about what I say. I think about how I come off to people. I overgive. I overexplain. Um, Working on that. But I would classify myself as a high functioning anxious person. And I would say, I'm not the type of person that can operate in chaos. I can't watch things just fall apart. Some people are really good at that. That's not me. Um, so, in saying that, sometimes being overwhelmed looks like showing up anyway, despite being tired, getting everything done, taking care of everybody else except you. Um, all the while, like, quietly feeling like you have nothing left to give. It's it's the mental load. It's the constant thinking. It's the lists. And you know what lists I'm talking about. It's the lists that are in your head and they never stop. It's the appointments. Man, like CJ had so many appointments in the beginning before he was diagnosed. Like PT, OT, speech, neurology, regular pediatrician appointments, which now he has 2 times as many because he has autism. Um, he goes to school 3 days and he goes to ABA the other 2, and like keeping track of the days. And where am I driving today? It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you got other things kind of like on your plate, those small things, start to add up and take up mental space, take up your mental capacity. Um, 4 things: the routines. What's my child's routine? And I've been trying to slowly get him to kind of like step out of his routine a little bit, because I want him to know, everything is not gonna go like as you want it, like every time. And so I want to give him those opportunities, to be flexible. So if you have the opportunity to be flexible in your child's routine, and maybe that's their thing and they thrive in it, like my son is so routine driven. Like he just came up to me a few minutes ago and told me night night. Like he's telling me it's time to go to bed. It's just so funny. But it's the it's the emotions that you carry, and not just yours, but your child's emotions too. Like, they come to you, like they come to you for like emotional regulation, So what happens when you're not emotionally regulated yourself? What do you do in moments where, like, you and your child are both feeling overwhelmed at the same time, or both feeling overstimulated? I'm so overstimulated at my job, especially like this year. Like, I don't know what it is with like the kids this year, but man, like, they ask so many questions and so many dumb questions too. But sometimes, especially like when a teacher is out, like a teacher was out the other day, I had so much going on. Like, I was like, wait, hold up a second. Hold up. Let me answer that. It was like so many things. So many things. And like, I'm trying to study for a test. And I was telling my mom the other day that like I'm having a hard time retaining information. And it's not because like I have bad study technique or whatever. Like, I'm a pretty intelligent person. Um, Information generally comes pretty easy for me. Even in studying, but I think because of like everything that's kind of going on right now in my life, my brain capacity, I don't know, it's just not it. It's not there. Um, as much as like I want to kind of focus on uh, what I should be doing or studying or whatever. Like, sometimes my brain says no, and I can't handle it, and so I gotta put my book down, or I gotta put my app down, because my brain is saying like no, too much overload. So, and I'm sure other moms are in like similar situations, because life has a way of life, and when you're trying to progress and move forward, and maybe you have to do similar things. So, and at some point, it just kind of all starts to feel, it kind of all just starts to feel a little heavy. Um, I know there's been moments where I find myself to be irritated, um, disconnected in a way, or just kind of numb to everything that's going on, like around me. Um, and I'm sure maybe some of you feel like the same way, like you're kind of just like looking through the window. Life is happening, and it's kind of just happening around you. Um, and it's not because you don't care. I want to make that clear. Um, it's not because you don't care. It's because you've been caring so much for so long without a break. And that's really the truth. Like, it takes a lot of capacity, to carry that much care. And when you have a child with autism, it's that extra kind of care. I feel like, because as moms, we know that our kids, especially our babies with autism, they come to us and they need our support, in a lot of different ways. And we speak their language, a language that a lot of people don't understand, will never understand. And so, like, you're their person. I'm CJ's person. He can trust me. He can trust me to, like, let out his emotions, like maybe he's been holding them in all day. I'm his safe place. But who's mine? I can feel heavy. And I want you to hear this clearly. Feeling overwhelmed does not equate to failing. Sometimes I feel like I have so much going on, like, I just feel like life is just happening. So many pieces, trying to get them all to fit. Man. But it's because like we live in a world that praises like pushing through. You know, as a former professional athlete, I know this feeling all too well. You know, we're taught to push through pain, to push through adversity, to run through that wall. Push through it. It doesn't hurt. Suck it up. Keep it moving. And you don't talk about it either. You get hurt. You know, don't be a crybaby. I remember it was so ingrained in me. Like, I remember one game I played with a hairline fracture in my foot. I kid you not. My foot was broken. I didn't know it was broken at the time, but it was broken. Had a hairline fracture in my foot. But you push through. And so the trainer taped my foot so that it wouldn't move around so much when I was running. And I was running, jumping, stopping, all doing this, pushing through pain, because that's what you do. You push through. And maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel it as a black woman too. I have to have an extra tolerance for adversity and adverse situations. I push through. I don't complain. I don't say I'm tired. I don't get exhausted. I'm strong. That's a lie. Yeah, you're strong. But who wants to be strong all the time? Nobody wants to be strong all the time like that. When do you get a chance to fall apart? Who's strong for you? So the same world that tells us to push through and be strong in adversity and there's no limit. This is the same world that doesn't talk about what it costs you. And for me, it cost me a lot. And this is not even just me speaking as a mom with a child with autism. This is me speaking as like a black woman, as a former athlete that played at a high level. Like, it cost me a lot. It cost me the ability to say when I need help. It cost me dynamics in relationships, you know, where I overfunction and I do everything, and then I feel tired, and then I resent the people around me for not helping because I show up for them but they don't show up for me in the same way, you know, because they have a boundary and I don't. And I really feel like this year is like kind of like what I learned. I'm kind of like learning my boundaries. I'm like not necessarily like helping or like who I can help or how I want to help, but what's too much for me? Can I say no and not feel guilty about it? I'm preaching to myself. But it costs everything. It costs me my peace. When I just like want to turn my brain off, but everybody's used to me doing everything and I'm everything to everyone, and it just costs. It costs a lot. And for moms with autism, it could cost you your peace. It could cost your energy. It can cost your mental health. Like, no one wants to talk about how your mental health is affected, like when you have a kid with autism, but like, as I stated in my first video, like, you grow like so much, and maybe it's like some things are revealed to you, as a mom, with a child with autism, and you start to notice things and pick up on things, and maybe you didn't notice them before. And if you're anything like me, I'm my worst critic. So all of it can really feel like overwhelming at the same time. And there's no turn off button. I have no stop. There's no time to stop. At least that's how I felt, before. But I will state this clearly. And this is what I'm learning. And I feel like I knew it before, but I feel like I know it better now. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I know you've probably heard that before. That line. And everybody kind of hears it. I'm like, hey, okay, I gotta fill myself up, all that stuff. But you can't pour from an empty cup no matter how hard you try. So you might ask, well, what do you do when you feel like you have nothing left? Because the athlete in me would say, well, you just give some more. Even when you feel like you have nothing left. The black woman in me would say the same thing. But I'm going to say right now that you just start small. Not a full reset. Because I'm not naive to the fact, that everybody doesn't have like a village, or there's single parents out here with kids with autism, and everybody's not blessed, in that way. So I'm not going to sit on here and talk like, yeah, just go take a day for yourself, because like I know that's not realistic. But if you can do that, make sure you do it. If someone offers you an opportunity to do that, make sure you take it. But I'm trying to be realistic here. And so you start small. Not a full reset, not a perfect plan. Just small moments of care for yourself. Maybe it's 5 minutes just for you. No phone, no noise, silence. Maybe it's that moment you have in the car to cry and crash out. To get it out. Maybe it's the 5 minutes after you put your baby to bed and you have a chance to breathe for a second, and you watch your favorite TV show for a few minutes before you start thinking about all the other things, like what you have to pack for them for lunch, because God knows if you pack the wrong snack, God only knows what'll happen. Or if you forget to put the things that they like in there. Because, my son is picky, but I've seen some even more pickier people than my baby. And there's just those mental things that you can't let go of. So before you start thinking of all those things, think about yourself for a minute. Maybe you have a sip of wine, if that's your thing. Maybe you scroll on Instagram and watch funny videos. It's moments of care. Maybe you step outside, like today. Today was really nice. I feel like I should have walked outside earlier though, because it's getting kind of cool now. But like, maybe you step outside and have some fresh air for